If you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed, like you're drowning and have no clear way out, then I invite you to pause and take a moment to watch this quick video as a way to create that sense of clarity and that space of exhale and breathing space for you to find your next path forward. I, as a projector in human design, have learned how deeply, and as an empath, sensitive I am, in the sense that I have spent a lifetime suppressing so many emotions, completely unconscious to it, until I really dedicated myself to doing the work, which I'm still actively in, so I'm no perfectionist here, and I don't have all the answers, but I can definitely share what's been supportive to me in this journey thus far. And what I find most helpful is actually a very simple framework that a teacher of mine, Matthew Patty, shout out to Matthew Patty, showed me in this beautiful, simple drawing. So here we go. Life is all about duality, yes? So if you envision a triangle with a pendulum that swings from left to right, maybe the left side is your more negative emotions, and some might argue there is no such thing as a negative emotion, which I sometimes agree with, to a more positive emotion on the right-hand side. If you're like me, you've spent a lifetime feeling, and I'm going to use brown, right? Feeling all the emotions, loving all the highs, and we form an attachment to both sides of the spectrum. What I realized and recognized is when I'm in these dark, kind of downward spiral, negative spaces, there's a resistance to being there. There's a part of me that is hating it, which means I'm clenching. It's like having a clenched fist. I'm attaching to this negativity. And when we attach to something, it creates more of it, right? We're resisting the resistance. Same thing with the positive upswing. When I'm in this positive upswing flow, I love it. I'm attached to it. I want to stay there. It's beautiful. It's mesmerizing. It's magical, right? But there's like a fear of, oh my God, when is the other foot going to drop, right? So hopefully maybe drop a comment like, I feel seen. I hear it. Yes, Stephanie, let me know in the comments below if you resonate with any of this, right? This attachment, this experience from left to right of the polarity. The hard pill that I had to swallow to find emotional clarity was that life is going to always have swings from left to right. I will never stop those swings. Things will happen. I will get triggered. It's always going, the left to the right that's just part of how I experience life, how we all do. There's always polarity. However, this is the emotional clarity. The tip right here. Matthew calls it like being the eye. If I can attune my focus to being the eye, to be the witness, the observer, you get the point. If I can learn to observe myself in this state, or in this kind of middle equanimous state, if I can really create a practice for myself of pausing enough to even put my hand on my heart and take a breath, and really what that does is it instills a habit of taking a step back instead of being fully entrenched in the cycle, whether it's a cycle up or a cycle down, whether I'm going up or down. It's learning to take a pause as the observer, to really be the witness. And inside of that witness state, I'm creating space for clarity. I'm creating space for something greater to come through, because in that part, when we're attached from a neurological standpoint, you're in a fight or flight, or you're, in a high kind of state. But creating this space to disattach, to breathe, to remember the truth of who I am in this moment, which is a greater being than this 3D body. Then the exhale comes, clarity comes, insight comes. I create a spaciousness for there to be a next step, for me to even understand the next step. And sometimes that's not in that exact precise moment, but it creates the space. Sometimes it takes a day, sometimes months. I more recently have been in what felt like this kind of a cycle, up and down, and I've spent a lot of time in the depths with my emotions, but I've learned to sit with them, Emotions are messengers, to listen to them. And I do that without the attachment. Now, again, not perfect. I'm attached. Sometimes it's the next day. I'm like, it's a process of learning to laugh at ourselves as the witness. Oh, there I go again, being very human, attaching myself to that depth, to that darkness, right? But creating that sense of spaciousness will lead to clarity. So maybe right now the action is the next time that you find yourself in an emotional high or an emotional low, taking a step back, putting your hand on your heart and telling yourself, this is absolutely normal. I'm not abnormal. This is part of my human experience. Can I take a breath and just be aware of my breathing right now? Because when I do that, this is why so many people talk about the breath as like the magical key to unlocking so much of our potential, is because in that breath, I'm here in the present moment. I'm no longer clenched fist. This was the biggest kind of aha I had, was how clenched and tight I was around my emotions, about my anger, about my frustrations, about my shame, about my guilt. Like I was so attached to not being that, to not allowing those shadow parts of myself to be seen, that when I kind of created a little bit more acceptance, self-love, compassion, and it was still not perfect, but I created this kind of like tiny little gap. So much clarity started to flood through. Now, I'm still in this journey with you. I'm open to your insights. Would love to hear what you think. But hopefully this was a little bit helpful to create even this much of space to create a little bit more clarity in your journey. I'm with you. I respect you. I love you. Thank you for watching, and look forward to the next Wisdom Burst together.